Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the Caffeinated Librarians. This is day 2 of our foreign film series, and we're kicking off this discussion with Lou's pick. Lou, what is your pick?
Today we're discussing the 2014 teen drama love story horror movie, Breathe.
Would you really call it a love story?
I
wouldn't
don't
call it
know
a
how
love
else to
story.
characterize any of that between them.
Yeah, I
wouldn't
thought they
call-
were attracted. Well, at least she was attracted.
No, they were in love. It wasn't a good love, but they were in love.
Toxic and
toxic
abusive.
love.
Toxic
Yeah.
and abusive. I can understand why the ending was the ending.
How perfect it would have all went if she just said, "This is my friend," instead of "This is my
Right?
classmate."
It all would have been fine from there.
Mhm.
They would have lived
Sure.
happy lives.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
It's all Charlie's fault, you know?
Yeah.
It is Charlie's fault. It's about a new girl that comes to school. Her name is Sarah. She befriends Charlie. Sarah they get very, very close.
Charlie's
very, very quickly.
kind of in the perfect position for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Her parents are fighting yet again in what seems
Yeah.
to be a pretty routine thing of her dad leaving
Yeah.
and coming back and et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Oops. Camera just went to sleep.
That was one of the more
Off to a
increasingly
good start.
frustrating things about watching this was, like you said, Charlie was basically primed for this kind of experience because she had the parent who constantly forgave and constantly welcomed back
Yeah.
and never set up any boundaries. And
Yeah, she's witness to toxicity in relationships and feels, almost gets a sense that that's how things are. So she's pining for somebody that she get very close with that really just treats her like for
Yeah.
for 3/4 of the movie.
I hated
God,
Sarah.
I really thought it was fixed at the end there with the bruise on her cheek when she came to the house and they spent the night together and she said, "I'm only in pain when I'm away from you." I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
She came around and then boom, ripped my heart right back out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So-
know how to pick 'em, Lou. Let's just say that. You
Thank
know
you.
how to pick 'em.
Thank you. So the first time I saw this, I don't know. I grabbed the DVD from the Austin Library. I don't know what possessed me to watch it. But I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm engrossed in the story between these two because it felt so real. Like, maybe with the exception of the ending, all that stuff is plausible. Like, all that stuff probably happens.
Mm-hmm. I would say the ending, it could be pretty realistic too, because if you push somebody far enough and bully and abuse somebody far enough, their breaking point can come very violently.
Yeah, the bullying aspect really checked out. It felt
Yeah.
authentic,
Yeah.
and it was smart. It was just enough to enrage you, but not enough for anyone to really cause a scene to stand up for someone, except for the sort of boyfriend at the end, and even then it was just a subtle "what's it to you" kind of statement. I say I loved this movie. This was huge thumbs up to you. This movie was intense. I was waiting for it to be blue is the warmest color at the beginning. I'm like, this is just going to be a teen romance, an adult rated teen romance or whatever. And that's what I was waiting for. And I'm like, okay, so it's just going to happen at the first time they have a sleepover. Oh, it's going to happen when they go on vacation together. And it just keeps elevating the tension and elevating the intelligence of both of these characters and their sensitivities. And I'm like, Lou's done something special here.
That's what I do.
I know Melanie Laurent for her acting.
Shoshana.
Yep. I had no clue she was a director until
Me
you
neither.
told me about this movie, and oh my god,
Yeah.
I don't know, she's just very in command constantly. The things done with framing and editing, it establishes so much without having to say any of it, but it immediately just highlights okay, these are the relationships at play, here's how it's morphing scene to scene. I don't know, just very controlled, and just the
Yeah.
look of it was really pleasant as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost like this artistically shot documentary style.
Yeah.
And nailing these gorgeous scenes like the wheat field scene. It's like,
Yeah.
where did this come from? This is amazing.
Yeah. And really does a good job of, like, the horror movie aspect of it. Like, it really does start to play with it when Sarah, walks up to the window and Charlie's sitting there just kind of staring off into space. The scene at the party where Charlie confronts her, and then there's Charlie's in the foreground. No, foreground is further right.
Charlie at that
Foreground.
party.
Foreground's
Closer.
close
At
up.
that party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see kind of Sarah's blurry, but she like turns around to like look at her, and it's just this malicious kind of like stare. So it's been a couple years since I watched this, and watching it this time, I was kind of like, I was almost thinking like, am I misinterpreting it? Like, was Charlie actually like Sarah does such a good job gaslighting Charlie that me as the audience was like, is Sarah right? Like, that's how good she does in this. And if you read some of the reviews, I mean, I don't know that it's come to fruition, but some of the reviews just, like, all the reviews just praise how good the two lead actresses are. And I mean, there was one review that was like talking about how they're going to be powerhouses in French film for the next 40 years. And I don't think that that's really come to fruition. I think the girl that played Sarah has done a few things. She was in that nun movie it was a French nun movie, which was dreadfully boring.
The one by Paul Verhoeven?
No, The Innocents.
Yeah, that one.
What is this? Who did?
Was that a Polish film?
I don't know.
Is it a
It's
nun walking
Anne
through?
Fontaine.
Okay, because there's one that came out a few years ago, and it's like a Polish
You mean
World War
about
II
Ida?
film.
Or...
No, it's called The Innocents.
Oh, okay.
It's just Polish, but it's a good title for a movie.
Yeah, it was dreadfully boring, as far as I remember, at least.
They did just enough with Sarah to make you sympathetic to her along the way. Just enough and that's like it's just good storytelling, just good characterization,
Yeah.
because there's a legitimate reason why she has such a monstrous defense mechanism
Yeah,
that backfires into aggression the way it does,
yeah.
because of how ashamed she is of her life and her story. And this movie messed me up. I was like,
Yeah.
it messed me up a little bit the way there's this horror film I mentioned earlier called Speak No Evil that came out last year, and it's I don't recommend it, but it's a perfect movie, and but it starts in this sort of like comfortable, kind of funny, awkward social thing, the way this movie does, and all of a sudden you see this tiny little microaggression, and then this other, and everything that happens is like these tiny little things that take agency away from the main character, and it happens over and over, and all of a sudden the main character is basically helpless.
Yeah.
And it's so exactly what happened in this movie, and it's just, what a good script, what good acting. Like,
Yeah.
nothing felt ridiculous, and at no point was I like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's, even when she's getting spoiler, she's getting
Yeah.
suffocated with the pillow at the end. I'm like, I believe that you sort of deserve this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Could have lifted up the pillow,
Yeah.
but
And I mean, Charlie, gets to a point where she just can't do anything right. Like, she, especially on that vacation, she's trying. She's trying to really reconnect with Sarah, and Sarah plays very hot and cold. She comes in like to the trailer, and they have this nice conversation, and you see Charlie's hopes getting up and everything like that, and then she's like, she almost is like, are you ready for bed? But she says it in a way where it's like she's going to come and lay with her and spend time with her, and then she just slams the door and walks out, and it's just like, no matter what Charlie does, and to me that was a very real feeling. It's a real feeling of like no matter what you say or do, you're just not going to do anything right.
the power game
Yeah,
from Sarah was strong.
yeah,
That is a Sith Lord.
yeah, yeah. Intense shit.
That bit on the vacation where they're like doing like the joking seduction with each other, and they kiss, and then Sarah slaps her,
Yeah.
and it's still part of the game, but it's still like, oh god.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, here comes the French lesbian romance.
Yeah.
That's what I thought this movie was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Even the misleading cover,
Yeah.
where everyone seems so happy together. I'm like, okay, Lou's got a romantic heart.
Yeah. It's all about love.
Not really. No.
It is just how it all can turn upside down
Yeah.
into,
Yeah.
you know.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time I watched this, like I said, don't really know what possessed me to take it out. It could have been the two beautiful girls on the cover.
2014, you're 24 years old?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same age? Same
Yeah.
age as the girls.
Yeah.
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 So I'm watching it, and then the ending happens. So at the end, Sarah is about as malicious a human being as you can imagine. She just says some really hurtful things to Charlie. Charlie pushes her and then suffocates her. You don't actually see her die, but it cuts to Charlie sitting there, not really doing anything. Her mother comes in, starts talking. Charlie starts crying, has a real difficult time breathing. That scene alone, and then you hear the mom go into the room. She screams, and then Charlie kind of calms herself down, looks into the camera, teardrop, end of movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys listened to the song in the credits,
No.
but I was.
It went right to a Freevee commercial, and I was like,
Oh,
well,
I was mesmerized. I was like staring at the screen. I just really had no. I did not expect it at all, and then that song plays, and it's like the most haunting song. After just witnessing what you witnessed,
what's the song now? I want to know. Send it to me. Do you have it on
yeah.
Spotify?
I do.
Please do.
Yeah.
So, after you make your point, I'm interrupting.
No,
your
that was
point.
my point.
Okay. So this movie was. I noticed that the publisher of this movie was Film Movement, and I don't know how much like play you guys have at Film Movement, but in the early 2010s, that was like where I like got most of my movies from. They find these like low budget art house films from all over the world, and there's one called A Call Girl, which is from Slovenia. That's excellent. There's one called
What's
Teddy.
that about?
It's about very good. There's another movie called Teddy Bear, which is also about this kind of bodybuilder actor who became pretty famous in the States. He was in like a Fast and Furious movie, but it was like his debut onto the
Dwayne
scene.
The Rock Johnson.
The guy, he fought Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Fast and Furious 6, I think.
Oh.
Well, like an
Under
Arnold
the Bombs
Schwarzenegger-esque kind of
looking guy, yeah.
character.
Yeah. So it's Film Movement. I don't know if it's still around, but it's like the TCM wine club of foreign film.
Interesting.
I love the commercials for the TCM Wine Club.
I want to do it. I want to actually commit to one delivery of it just to like have that experience.
Just so they can send you a Charlie Chaplin themed wine.
Yeah. Or the Coppola Wine Club, the Coppola Winery.
A couple of that makes genuinely great wine.
I didn't even know this was a real thing. I thought that was a joke.
No, it's a real thing.
That's what I
Yeah.
think.
Wow.
No, have you never had Francis Ford Coppola's wine?
I don't think so.
It's really good.
Yeah.
That's how
They
he
sell
funded
it all over
his
town.
next movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He just ran a vineyard for about 20 years.
Wow. Have you guys ever seen The Conversation?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it good? Yeah.
It's good. It's that thing where at the time it changed the game in a way
Oh yeah.
with like sound design,
Yeah.
but because it did that, everything else started to do it better because they were inspired by that.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly watchable movie.
Yeah. I think I told Joe this once. There was this guy that in college who was really annoying. And he would tell me we were seniors in college, so like, you know, I have a lot of work. I'm preparing for my life and stuff like that, and he's like, you have to watch The Conversation. It's great. I'm like, oh, thank you for the recommendation. Like, sincerely, thank you. I'll give it a shot. And then he's like, and then, you know, a week later, he's like, have you watched The Conversation yet? And I'm like no. And he's like, it's better than The Godfather. I'm like, okay, I want to give it a shot. a week later, have you watched the conversation? This happened for a year. This happened for a year. So much so where I was like, conversation, I'm not watching it.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it's not better than The Godfather.
Wow.
I do want to give it a shot, though.
I appreciate like the person, and everyone knows one that like picks like the lesser movie by a very well beloved director and say that's actually his best work, but you know it's just attention getting nonsense.
Yeah.
And there's no world. If you're watching, old college friend,
Yeah, you know who you
there's
are.
no world where the conversation is better than The Godfather.
Yeah.
That's
It's not even better than The Godfather 3, and that movie is not good.
So anyway,
No, I'm kidding.
what you guys think?
Well, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Really?
it. I enjoyed its
Nice.
authenticity and like on all the parts of the where Sarah is. I didn't like Sarah. I did not find Sarah sympathetic because I've been bullied like that when I was in school, like elementary school and middle school mostly, by people who said that they were my friends, but then the next day said I wasn't their friend anymore and would ignore me and all this other stuff. So I felt Charlie's tension going into school before, so that was very real for me. But so I appreciated like she didn't like the director didn't make it like contrite or anything. She made it real, and I appreciated that because I feel like a lot of movies would make bullying a character who bullies another character like contrite, like there's no actual tension or buildup or wanting to go to not wanting to go to school, and I felt that way when I was in middle school. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I felt that the ending was karma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed it. I honestly believed it couldn't have ended any other way.
Yeah.
Their relationship dynamic would not have allowed for any kind of happy resolution. The revelation that Sarah has an alcoholic mom who is abusive, I mean, it added some, like, not layer to her character, but it gave more context for maybe some of her behavior. But at the same time, I was like, while I understand that, that doesn't justify your behavior. And I don't think that's
Yeah.
what the movie was trying to do. But it's like you may feel some sympathy, but then she behaves atrociously. And the conversation that she has with Charlie before Charlie kills her, as you mentioned, Lou, it's gaslighting. She's essentially, which when she talks about, you strong, what's his name, Lucas?
Yeah,
Lucas.
Lucas,
Was it Lucas?
Something like that.
Yeah.
along, you left your friends, and in a way it was true. I mean, it's very much, and I don't know whether that's because she's not attracted to men. Maybe that's her conflict, where she may believe this is what I should be doing, but I don't really feel that. So maybe that's why it's not really progressing in any sort of way, but she can't really tell him she's not interested. But she
That's
did.
the vibe. It's funny you bring that up, actually. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's the vibe I got this time around watching it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really pick up on that the previous two times I watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that, but this time I definitely think you're onto something there where she is struggling with her sexuality.
That's how I kind of
Yeah.
read it, that she may like him, but she can't progress in the way that he would like for the relationship to progress. She did leave her friends, which can happen sometimes when someone new comes in.
Yeah.
Your other friends may sort of fall to the wayside. You may not give them the same kind of attention. That's not necessarily something, in the way Sarah taught, it's almost like it's sinister. It's almost like, you see, this is how vile you are. The way she's twisting it, that's something natural. It doesn't excuse it, because I did really feel sorry for Charlie's friend. And when her friend is drunk, she says, we used to be so close. So I do feel for, and that is an aspect of truth. The other friends do kind of fall away because Sarah takes over her entire life. But at the same time, Sarah's twisting everything in order to say, like, even when she says, you treat yourself like, what does she say? Like, you're the victim.
She's victim blaming is what she's
Yeah,
doing.
but she says something where it's like, you're really talking about yourself. but you just can't admit it. Like, she uses a certain phrase to basically twist it against Charlie, and Charlie smiles afterwards because Sarah's really talking about herself, because she's playing a victim, she's demonizing the actions of other people. And something, I mean, because when I was talking to Lou before the recording, I understood the relationship as, at least on Charlie's part, I didn't get it too much with Sarah, that Charlie was romantically, sexually attracted to Sarah. That's how I sort of understood it from the beginning of the film. But I don't necessarily know if Sarah felt the same way. I think Sarah was very aware of it, and she used it to her benefit. But there's a scene when the two of them, after they've, like, swam in the lake, and the guy comes over, and Charlie gets up and her towel drops, and the way Sarah's face, like, because now the attention is off of her, and, like, the way she even twists that moment, where she says, oh, you can't do anything right, and the dialogue is so natural. That's one thing I appreciate about the film, where it didn't feel like it was a script. And even the way the words are said, like when she's saying, you know, look for the, whatever she was putting in with the cigarette, it's the black one, it's not hard, you know, it's square shaped. Like the way you say it, like it kind of feels like when you're really annoyed at someone, like, come on, you know, like get it together, you should know how to do this, can you do anything right? It felt very natural. And even Charlie's response, because she is someone who's growing up in a home with domestic violence, or like in a sort of broken home, because the father does hit the mother, it's natural that when you may fall into a relationship that fits like a similar pattern. It's very realistic.
Yeah.
And Charlie doesn't really know, like, because when you look at her, the only relationship she has really as any kind of example, it is dysfunctional. It is toxic. So it kind of fits that her first relationship will be dysfunctional, and not all the time, but it fits that she doesn't really know any other kind of relationship possibility.
Yeah, the mom that forgives the abuser, so that's
and that's what Charlie does, and it was heartbreaking to me too, because you see that any kind of acknowledgement, she latches onto it immediately. You know, where she starts to, like, even when Sarah calls her and she's like, you know, I was so offended, you really hurt me. And the way Charlie, like, she's like, when she says, I'm sorry, you know, you're right. And I was like, no, Charlie, you're not, you know. But it's like, she's so taken with her that she wants to do anything to make her happy. So,
a line like that kind of stood out to me was when they're leaving the trailer and Sarah's like, did you get the cigarettes? And Charlie's like, no. And Sarah's like, oh, I have to think of everything on myself. And it's like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching, like Charlie really doesn't smoke. She really only smokes when Sarah's around. And then, like, so yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Like, just that blaming somebody else for all your really.
And then the full, like, control that she has is the next day in school after that trip. All she does is have to put her hand on Charlie, and Charlie just melts right back into her.
Well, she's giving her enough, but not like enough to string her along. You can almost think of it as like a drug metaphor.
It was.
Charlie is deeply addicted to Sarah. Sarah, the drug, is aware of it, so she gives her little bits to basically string her along and not satisfy her completely.
And Sarah's no fool. She walked into that classroom and knew minus infinity right away.
Well, yeah, but honestly, and I don't know if I was the only one, the actress who plays Sarah is a gorgeous woman. I was like, my God, this woman's gorgeous. Like, I can see how Charlie would fall for her. Because she's an extremely gorgeous person, and she has a sensuality about her where even when she's fully clothed, well, she's not really, except for the lake scene, but you feel that. And I think she definitely knows how to wield that to her advantage.
Well, no, I would absolutely agree with you that the actor who plays Sarah came into that classroom knowing exactly who she was, knowing exactly how she looked, and did it purposefully, scoped out someone in the classroom she could push around because this is a new school and because of her upbringing, and it fit the bill.
It really brought me back to, like, all those horrible feelings in high school about when, you know, losing a friend by the wayside because they found someone that was cooler, and like being like feeling physically awkward, and like seeing the people who were fully in command of their physicality and not understanding how
Oh yeah.
one can do that, and like, yeah.
I feel you, Ben.
I was the cooler person that people left other people for, so I don't know what that's like, but just kidding.
No, you're not.
I feel like you are that person, but also you'd be like, you bring that person along with
Yeah,
you.
come on.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have fun.
That'd be you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And boy, the French like to smoke cigarettes, huh?
They love it.
Yeah.
Some great French moments in this. I was taking notes throughout, but I pointed out one of the opening scenes. They're just in a high school.
Classroom philosophy.
Yeah, and they're just talking philosophy, and there's like, well, Friedrich Nietzsche says passion is. It's just like, yeah, that's the French educational system.
I was almost like, I was like, cue in the French high school classroom scene where we talk about philosophy, and it's like happened in like every French movie about high school that exists on Earth. But then I wonder, is that just because they're smarter than us?
That could be because
And
they're
that's just
smarter than
how
us.
it is.
I think they just emphasize different things.
Yeah.
Like I think in a French high school, you're much more likely to hear the word dialectic. But
Yeah.
like, maybe their physics programs aren't as
Yeah,
intense.
that's a good. Yeah. Yeah, the French aren't going to be landing on the moon anytime soon.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're going to tell you why the moon is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's also just be real and say that Europe has a much better school system than the United States does. So,
Yeah.
I believe it.
yeah.
Luna de idéologique.
Oui.
I love how the French hit idéologique. It's great.
I really loved when they were like, when they would say stuff and then they would like say things in English a little bit. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like we don't do that. We're not like, hey, do you want to go to the casa?
No.
You know what I mean?
Dojo casa.
That actually kind of annoys me when, like, there's a perfectly good, like, Italians do the same thing too, and I think it's just because English has sort of just become one of those but like, it annoys me, like, there's an Italian word for that. Use it.
Yeah.
This
You know,
is
it's-
why we need Esperanto everywhere. We're doing it. The Esperanto dream is not dead. It will be the lingua franca.
You think so?
No, it will never be. But I always root for it. I think it's so funny that some dude was just like, hey guys, I made a language. I think this should be the language of trade. And everyone was just like, no.
What was kind of cool about this movie is that there was like an open sensuality, but there wasn't that gaze wasn't there. It wasn't
yeah.
about like, look at these bodies.
Well, what about the scene where they're both on the bed together and it's from their rear end? Like, it's the perspective of, like, you're looking at that from behind.
Yeah, I mean that one shot, but it's like it didn't feel like anything other than very comfortable friends hanging out. It wasn't like, yes, it was just a natural thing of people hanging out
Right,
in shorts, but like not like.
Yeah.
So like,
Doing
I
anything.
guess what could be like a parallel comparison is blue is the warmest color.
Which is a movie about a hot lesbian romance where neither actress is a lesbian in real life, directed by a man who's like,
Right.
get in there.
Does not understand
Yeah.
how bodies work.
Yeah.
Right.
Get in there.
I've listened to a podcast once. It was a film podcast, and it was a lot of lesbian critics on it. They were just laughing their asses off over the sex scenes in that movie. They were just like, "This is nonsense."
But there was a connection
Yeah.
between Blue is the Warmest Color and this movie last night. What was it? That amazing drum.
Oh, what is that drum?
I love that thing. That was like the most beautiful scene in Blue is the Warmest Color. She walks into Paris.
drum?
And
When
this
they're
guy's
on
like, dum,
vacation,
dum,
they have
dum,
like
dum.
this
Oh,
metal
that's
drum.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the
Oh.
sound of that drum.
The
Yeah,
soundtrack.
that's-
That's what they're talking about.
Because the first time in Blue is the Warmest Color, the
I've read the
two
graphic
main
novel. I
characters-
never watched the film.
Yeah. But remember, I mean, Charlie's playing it. and
Yes,
like-
yes, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
what's the Jamaican?
Yeah, it's
almost
almost
like-
like a steel drum,
Sounds
but
like
it's
steel
like
drum.
inverted. I
Yeah,
was like,
right.
what is
But
this?
going back to what you mentioned about the Italians and like the male gaze, like just watch an Italian show, whether it's like a
soap opera?
sport show. No, like a sports show where the women are just essentially there as decorative ornaments, or any kind of like musical show, and like all the women mostly are foreign, very tall, statuesque, almost half naked, and the men are like patronizing to these women, like either stroking them on the head, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, I said, you guys are terrible.
There's this Fellini film I watched, and we talked about it, and I think I finally figured out which one it was, and I texted it to you, where Marcello Mastroianni is like at a party, and to make some sort of like deep philosophical point, he like wraps a towel around a girl's face and makes her crawl like a dog across the floor as he's like slapping her on the side of the face, and the girl's like, okay, yeah. It's like Italian cinema. This is what you are, what you've always been.
If you want the flip side of that scene, there's a good part in 8.5 where Marcello Mastroianni is in his mind palace, and he's imagining all of the women in his life in a harem for him, and then they unionize and uprise against him. And
I think I saw a version of that when I saw 9. That's a Dan Day-Lewis movie. That's a remake of 8.5. That wasn't very good.
Yeah, and speaking on that, I thought probably the most sensual scene was, I don't know what they were doing, if they were like, if Sarah was like putting makeup on Charlie or something, but Sarah's like standing over her.
Yeah.
And like, and the camera's like really tight on Sarah, and it makes her feel dominating, but it's also very sensual. It's like,
even later on when they were drunk at that party and like Charlie's sitting down and Sarah has like her head at her like on her hip and like rubbing their fingers through her hair. Yeah. I'm like this. I was thinking this is going to be like a sweet romance.
Yeah.
Boy,
they tricked us. Yeah. They lied to us.
Yeah.
I can't even say they tricked us because it wasn't even about face. It was like this very
it develops
gradual,
perfectly.
Yeah.
I said, the editing on this is perfect. How it just captures the evolution of this so swiftly and so on point.
I looked up this movie and I found that it's based off of a book.
It is,
yeah.
Now I got to read that.
I have the book if anybody wants to borrow it.
Do you really?
I do. It's very short. Yeah.
Is it a short story?
No, I think it's just a short book.
Oh, okay.
One could say it's a short story, but short in length.
It's a novella.
Yeah. See, this is why you're around. You know words.
This is why you're the leader.
Yeah. Take us out, Simona.
You don't want to take us out?
This is a very constructive, interesting
We
conversation.
can go for about 10 more minutes, too.
Credit to Katie for actually liking a movie today.
Woo! Katie liking the movie.
Not a hater today.
Go, Katie.
And your movie pick is the next one. And you're picking an awesome movie. Which
an awesome
is
movie, they
not
say.
uncommon.
Wait, I have to get my...
Not that I'm the judge of that, but...
That's it. It's going to be great.
They're
great.
It's genuinely great.
Tiger,
and I think if you have Amazon,
not the Leprechaun guy.
Amazon has like a fully restored edition of this film, and it's gorgeous. It's just amazing. I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, I love it.
I've never seen it. I'm looking forward to it.
Were you trying to do the Lucky Charms guy?
I was trying to do the Lucky Charms guy, and I did it's great.
You got Tony the Tiger. Wrong cereal.
And so it's Leprechaun 4 in space next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a Leprechaun 4 in space?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've never seen any of the Leprechaun
Okay, so
films.
You never saw Leprechaun in the Hood?
Yeah. Somehow after space, they decided the craziest place you could go was the Hood, and they did 2 movies of that: Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
We could do a whole Leprechaun series and watch all of them.
Jennifer Aniston's debut in the first one.
She is, yeah.
Yep.
She's in it.
Matt McConaughey and Renee Zellweger, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4.
Oh, that's the weird one too. That's the one that's like a John Waters movie.
The second one's like that. Too.
No, yeah, but like that one's like especially like camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they actually deliver good performances, which is...
Did they survive?
I'm not telling you nothing.
I'm not watching it, so.
Do you guys?
You're gonna have to if I pick it for my foreign movie.
So there's obviously the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then there's the one with Jessica Biel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then no, but I'm just so that was the remake of the original, right?
Oh yeah,
The one
yeah,
with
yeah.
Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
Then they made another one later on.
Texas Chainsaw the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you were supposed to believe that it was like before the stuff with Jessica Biel. Like I thought that's what they were going for, and it was the exact same movie.
Wait, but wasn't that where he's a child and you learn his origin
No,
story?
I think that's Leatherface,
Yeah.
the 2017 film.
Made by those French directors.
They cannot
oui,
stop
oui.
making origin stories for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a movie that needs no origin
No, it does
story.
not.
Did you see the one where the final girl in the film actually is related to him?
Oh, that's so dumb.
Is that the Netflix one?
I don't know if it is, but I was watching clips, and I just thought, oh my god, because she has like some kind of birthmark. So he's about to kill her, and then
And
he
he's like,
sees her birth.
I have the same birthmark. We must be brother and sister.
Yeah, so he finds out that they're related.
Why did you say that name?
And I think she ends up like it has one of the corniest lines where she takes the chainsaw. She's his cousin, and she says, "Do your thing, cuz," and she tosses him the chainsaw so he can finish killing off the people that she came in with. And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Well, now I want to find that one. That sounds
It's terrible.
interesting take.
But it's just so funny. And then at the end, I think they become like killing cousins, which is kind of sweet because you reunite, you do family-related activities together.
That's deranged.
I have to say, that's actually what
Sweet.
made
That's the whole family in it.
That's what made Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects so compelling.
But did you I watched that? And I'm not really a horror person, but I decided, okay, let me get over my fear of like this family because I tried watching House of a Thousand Corpses and couldn't do it.
Oh, now see, that one's just fun to me.
that's
It's so goofy.
I know, but it's like I didn't really understand Rob Zombie's style at that point. So then I watched Devil's Rejects, and I'm with my sister. I'm like, are we supposed to laugh? Am I supposed to find this as funny as I'm finding it? And then I watched and spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched. So then, I watched the ending where they're going out in a, gunfire, and you see them looking out, and I'm like, it's a family of sadistic killers. Are we supposed to feel sorry that now they're dying? But a part of me did kind of feel sorry for them.
And that's-
a part of you was
the
rooting
brilliance.
for
Yeah.
That's how they get. Yeah,
rooting for this
Rob
family.
Zombie loves the outcasts. I mean,
they were like
even if they're-
evil people, yet
Yeah.
we were caring about them by the
I
end.
know. What
Because-
does that say about us?
What does that say about family?
Yeah.
That even if you're sadistic killers, family is what matters, and you stick together no matter what.
Thank you, Vin
So-
Diesel.
It's so funny that the first Texas Chainsaw is just a vegetarian movie, and then I don't know, they just can't stop.
Texas Chainsaw, the
Yeah.
original one, has a vegetarian message.
Oh yeah, that's
It
the whole
does?
thing.
What?
I've
I've never seen it.
So the
But-
family in it,
Yeah.
their backstory is they worked at a slaughterhouse
Oh,
killing cows,
yes, and they were-
and the slaughterhouse shuts down, and ultimately the argument is there's no difference between mechanical mass slaughter of animals and the slaughtering of people.
So essentially,
Why we have
veganism made them kill. I get it now. Okay.
Do you, in the Jessica Biel version?
No,
I'm
yeah.
just joking.
In the Jessica Biel version, do you remember the little kid? He had the messed up teeth, and he's got the eyes.
he helped her out.
Big forehead. Yeah, he helps her. I gotta tell you, hopefully she'll never see this, but my niece was so awkward looking at the beginning of her life that it reminded me of that kid.
She better not watch this.
She does not look anything like him anymore. I actually said to Louisa, I was like, she looks like the creepy kid from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
So bad.
Oh man, you gotta put that kid's face up there, Joe, because just people won't understand if they haven't seen it.
So, since we're on the topic of Texas Chainsaw Massacre still, to say in the realm of physical media, the Blu-ray and 4K releases of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, are the prime example of why restoration is so good, because the picture quality and the beauty of that movie, the first movie from
No, that
74,
movie's stunning.
stunning, and it looks amazing, and it looks
People love to lie about it and be like, oh, it looks like a documentary. It does not. Tobe Hooper's the most insane stylist.
Yeah. and being able to like see like the Blu-ray I got was from like 2014 or 2015. It's like it was really, really like a nice like box art and everything. I loved it. It's totally worth it. There are just some restorations that are on a different level, and that's one of them.
I've seen the bloopers for that film, which kind of makes it less scary. Like when Leatherface is crashing through the door, and I think he wasn't supposed to knock the whole door down. We see the actor goes, and like the thing falls, and like he has to, there's no sound, and he has to like go back and they have to fix up the door or whatever. Supposedly the actress, the first kill that he does where he puts her on the meat hook, I think she was upset with the scene where she gets up from the swing and you're like, you see her like from, like if you were like looking at her derriere from like on the ground. And supposedly she was upset at the way the director chose to shoot her in that moment because she didn't think he would do that, and she kind of felt like he was exploiting her or whatever.
Well, yeah, but it's the genre.
True.
But they should be exploiting men the same way, is my argument. If you're going to be in that
But
kind
it
of
wouldn't work in the same way. Like, picture in that scene just a guy getting off the swing wearing shorts.
like hanging out of the short a little bit.
Yeah. Like, would you...
I support that 110%.
Yeah. Or Leatherface just running around dongle out with the chainsaw.
I don't
Make
think...
it happen.
Yeah. He's still just as dangerous. It wouldn't change the story.
Yeah.
Just exploit his body.
But would you... okay, we're going...
Would you be more scared of that? Yeah. Think
A
about it.
naked
How
guy with
crazy-
A naked guy with a chainsaw, I would be more scared, I think.
The guy with a chainsaw in hand is scary enough. Now, if the person's crazy enough to do it,
If he's got a chainsaw
you
in
know
one hand
he's
and
out to take you out.
in
He's
another
gonna kill
hand,
you.
then yeah, I'm gonna be worried.
The guy who played Leatherface in the first one is such a sweetheart. Was such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gunnar Hansen.
I did hear like
Yeah, he picked her up because the actress, the scene where she's screaming at the dinner table, she actually fell over, and he was the only one that picked her up because she was still tied to the thing and she just fell sideways. Yeah, I think they said it was also very hot, and I was just thinking about the actress, like how much she's screaming.
Well, Texas
And
is warm.
Yeah.
so. Apparently, that dinner scene, was like a horrific experience.
Yeah.
All that meat was rotting.
Oh.
It was legit meat. They couldn't afford like more. So it just sat there in like 130-degree heat.
The dinner scene is like the scariest part of the movie. Like, oh,
Especially when they roll the grandfather in.
that the grandfather makes me laugh. Just a
makes-
clearly dead man.
He makes you laugh. That thing was legit
He's
terrified.
rolling in a corpse, more or less. He's like, oh, Grandpa's here. Come on, Grandpa, kill her.
I just watched. Okay,
It's a very
no,
supportive family.
Clearly.
Hey, the family that kills together stays together.
yeah,
Bring it
Skulls
back
and Corpses.
to zombie. Bill Mosley's in the second one, or Mosley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
Chop Top.
that, and the second one is just such a carnival ride. It's just
Is that the one where like the girl gets her head bashed in with a hammer over a bucket?
No, that's the first one, I think. I don't know. The second one has a goofy hippie with a metal plate in his head, named Chop Top, who assists them now.
I'm not placing the bucket hammers
And
shot from anything.
It is.
There's a scene when they also get the grandfather, and they said like and they're trying to put the hammer in the
That's the
grandfather's.
first one,
That's the
yeah.
first one.
That's
Yeah.
the first one.
Yeah.
And they keep missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I can't keep. There's so many of them. Can't keep track.
The
Anyway.
first two are the Toby Hooper ones. Those are the real ones.
The Netflix one, is that where like the survivor, the final girl from the first film, comes back to try to kill him? Is that the Netflix
Which
one?
I gotta say, I'm tired of that trope now. Like we did it right with Jamie Lee Curtis, and now we're just ruining it.
Don't worry, the mom from The Exorcist is here to put
Oh,
the devil
yes.
in his place.
I've never seen The Exorcist because like I've seen a clip of the spider walk down the staircase scene, and I was I'm not doing it. Like I've never seen that film. I'm just too terrified. Certain things I just don't watch. But I watched the trailer for this one. I was like, oh, I said they're bringing the mom back. It's the same demon.
But what is the mom gonna do?
The mom knows the
The
demon.
mom
She
didn't do anything
Like,
the
why
first
couldn't they
one.
have
The
Linda
priest
Blair?
did it.
Yeah.
Linda Blair apparently is involved with this.
Yeah.
As a creative consultant.
Oh, because it's like
Oh,
the
so
Jamie
this
Lee
new,
Curtis involvement.
new
Yeah,
Exorcist
there's a new
movie.
Yeah.
one coming out.
Mm-hmm.
She was basically became Terminator 2, right? She like became a war trained waiting for revenge her whole life, like nutbag, and it made sense. And she was
Trauma.
like, all this one's doing is walking into a scene, being like, "My daughter went through this."
But think
I
about
can show you what
no,
to
no, no,
do.
no. But think about it from this perspective. She's a mother, and the demon actually calls her High Mother. So she's going to tackle it from a maternal aspect. That's what you guys are missing.
I think
That
you're
is,
giving it too much credit, Simona.
it's in the trailer.
Jury's out. You may
It's in
be
the
onto
trailer.
something.
Yes, it's in the trailer.
If I was dealing with a demon possessing someone, I would want the people who like dealt with the demon,
Yeah,
not just
bring me the priest.
yeah.
But the priest, like, well, one got flung out. They weren't as effectual either. Like, I just think
But they're
also,
the ones who actually exorcise the demon.
This was a stubborn demon in that first movie.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So
You
they
guys
need
see
to bring them
the
up.
Pope's Exorcist? Yeah.
I need to.
It's good.
I love that guy's
It's silly.
real.
I like it.
The kid, yeah, I can't get over the kid. He's just like, bring me the priest.
Father Gabriel, if you're watching this, you're the coolest.
Yeah, and they set it up like a buddy priest thing at the end. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go hunt more demons together. Me and this other priest. It's like, is there gonna be Pope's Exorcist too?
Yes, there is 100%.
Yeah, no, it's
gonna
already
be
confirmed,
Pope's Exorcist
basically.
too.
Oh wow.
Well, it
Russell
makes
Crowe and
sense.
Ryan Gosling.
I really hope Father Gabriel Amorth is a big fan of the movies about him.
There's I lost my point. I don't know. Yeah, it's gone.
It'll come back.
Anyway, French cinema.
Oh, okay. The actual Pope's Exorcist is very against yoga.
Of course.
It is satanic.
Because think about it, only demons are in those positions.
And okay, practicing
And very
yoga
flexible
is
people.
satanic. It leads to evil, just like reading Harry Potter.
Are you kidding
Wait, seriously?
me?
That's what the...
Someone's like, I hate this guy.
It's the same priest that
This
like
man is 91. Oh no,
catcalls
he's
young
been dead
nuns.
for a while.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was still alive.
Bummer.
Aw, so you mean he died
Maybe-
never practicing yoga or reading Harry Potter?
What a
My
shame.
God, that was a life.
Maybe
poorly
he'll
lived.
be a spirit that goes into the
Mostly-
next person.
Mostly
in the
for
next
not
Exorcist
reading
movie.
Harry Potter.
Wrap it up.
take us out, Simona.
All right, so that was our discussion of Breathe. We look forward to reading your comments. As always, like, subscribe, and join us next time. We're going to be discussing Katie's foreign language pick, which is...
The Secret of Roninish.
And we're going to have pints of ale.
And we're somehow gonna land on like John Carpenter's Halloween halfway through and change the podcast, but it'll be good.
It'll be awesome. All right, thanks, everyone. See you later.